Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakat, Dash. Double honors unto the elder apostles of great millstone of all well. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Additions to Esther 5. Queen Esther also, being in fear of death, resorted unto the Lord, and laid away her glorious apparel, and put on the garments of anguish and mourning. And instead of precious ointments, she covered her head with ashes and dung. She humbled her body greatly, and all the places of her joy she filled with torn hair. So Esther, Queen Esther, in this situation, shown that she's not untoward the Heavenly Father, all right? Because she could have. No one knew that she was a Jewess. No one knew that she was of the tribes of one of the daughters of Israel, all right? But with that being said, okay, she, like Mordecai said in the book of Esther, that she ought to be mindful because even though it is not known that she is a Jew, the Lord could make it a way where He saves all these people, and then now she gets destroyed along with all the rest of them. So, you know, with that being in mind, she's fearful. She understands. No one the terror of the Lord we persuade men. We're not. Well, I won't say we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, but I could say maybe in that sense that applies because you could have sided with being like, well, I ain't gonna worry about it. And that's just a ploy from Satan to just set you up for a downfall. All right. So this really shows you how she fears the Heavenly Father. And it so much so as well for her to get into a mourning state, right? Remember, she was embalmed in, precious ointments for the course of 6 months. And then, after that, it's like, you sweat, you know, ointment. And then, there's a maintenance that comes with it. And that's what it speaks to. But she went from that to putting dust and dung upon her hair. That shows you that she was truly, lamenting the fault of Israel, from what we read in the previous chapter, what I read in the previous chapter, should I say, as far as the destruction that was, appointed unto the children of Israel. Verse 3. And she prayed unto the Lord power of Israel, saying, O my Lord, thou only art our king. Help me, desolate woman, which have no helper but thee. For my danger is in mine hand. From my youth, Salakia, up, I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Lord, tookest Israel from among all people, and our fathers from all their predecessors for a perpetual inheritance. And thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise them. Right, so this is showing, you know, her belief in that of the Heavenly Father and her saying these things because she came up the right way, all right, from her youth up, as it was laid out in the law, Deuteronomy, all right, the book of the second book of the law, Deuteronomy, how basically when you rear up your child, you ought to sit with them and teach them the scriptures, and then when they go by the side of the road, or I mean the wayside is technically the same thing, but when they walk about the city, that they may ask, why is this monument here, why is it, what is the meaning of this, you gotta basically break it down and tell them why these things happen. So she was reared up in that nature, all right. um Reading on verse 6, and now we have sinned before thee. Therefore hast thou given us into the hands of our enemies, because we worship their gods. O Lord, thou art righteous. Nevertheless, it satisfieth them not that we are in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols. All right, that they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth hast ordained, and destroy thine inheritance, and stop the mouth of them that praise them, and quench the glory of thy house. and of thine altar, and open the mouths of the heathen to set forth the praises of the idols, and to magnify a fleshly king forever. Let me read that again. Start from verse 7. Because we have worshipped their gods, O Lord, thou art righteous. Right. So these things had befallen us because we went against the law, statute, commandments of the Heavenly Father. So therefore, the 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 not contingency, the stipulations of the covenant, if we fall short of the covenant, basically kicked in, whereby, the curses. Verse 8, nevertheless, it satisfied them then not that we are in bitter captivity, they have stricken hands with their idols, that they may that they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth has ordained, and destroy thine inheritance, and stop the mouth of them that praise thee, and quench the glory of thy house and of thine altar. Right. And this is what, these heathen nations, this is why it says it in Psalms, second chapter, why do they even rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The thought of destroying America, let's say it, man. The thought of destroying the children of Israel is a vain thought. All right. As it tells you in the book of Jeremiah, that basically the earth would have to cease. Everything as we know it within this world would have to cease in order for Israel to not exist. Right? That shows you how much um of a not cornerstone, of a what's that word, man? Of a fixture we are within this world. Remember, the Lord said, Ezra spoke of it. The Most High made the world for our sakes. That's in the book of the law. All right. The book of the law, that's in the law. When you go into when you go into the book of Deuteronomy, it basically speaks about what did it say? Oh, I'm thinking of Deuteronomy 7 and 6, or then Deuteronomy 32. Lord, for our sakes. Let me quickly go to Deuteronomy 32. I can't remember it verbatim right now. I just remember the verse. I need to go. Yeah, it says it here. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Right, so the world, everything was set in place after the fashion of the children of Israel. We basically, without us being fixed in place, these people won't have no place of inheritance. It said, for the Lord Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the Lord of his inheritance. That's the focal point. The spotlight, limelight is on the children of Israel. All right. It's truly a vain thing to try and get us up out of here. All right. So reading on. Um, right. But it also said they're not satisfied with our captivity. It really shows you they want to destroy us. And here we are now in captivity. And Esau wants our destruction. All right. Verse 10, and open the mouths of the heathen to set forth the praises of the idols, and to magnify a fleshly king forever. O Lord, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing, and let them not laugh at our fall, that turn their device upon themselves and make him an example. Sorry, but turn their devices upon themselves and make him an example that have begun this against us. Right, and we all know this started with. We know that this started with Haman, right, and that was he wanted to do all these things to magnify himself. Ultimately, get Xerxes up out there. All right, excuse me. Remember, O Lord, make thyself known in the time of our affliction, and give me boldness, O King of the nations and Lord of all power. Give me an Give me eloquent speech in my mouth before the lion. Turn his heart to hate him that fighteth against us, that there may be an end of him and of all that are like minded to him. Right. So and when I read through the accounts of Esther, you can see that it was very, I mean, it was the plans of the Heavenly Father, but he didn't get dealt with up out of there. Haman didn't get up out of there on the first banquet with Esther, but the second. And I believe the time of the first and the second is when he set up the gallows. All right. So all the asking of the request, the supplication of Esther, the prayer that she sent up to the Heavenly Father was answered. This is why the Lord's timing is the Lord's timing. That's why you can't lose faith because there's a good meme where it shows a man digging for precious stones, diamonds or whatnot, and he's right there, but he gives up because he's had enough, and then someone else gets there because he keeps going. And this is where it is with the word, man. 'Cause even recently, I see a clip of someone that used to be in the faith and was very well revered within GMS, and this guy's throwing up gang signs, man. And it's like I said already, it's a terrible thing to fall into the hands of the Lord, right? Because this man was highly esteemed. When he did videos, everyone looked in, but that's the showing of the Heavenly Father. But these things is all preordained from the beginning, right? But the point being, and all that I'm saying is, things are going back to the point because I'm getting lost in speaking about randomness. But the point being is that like these things are ordained through the Spirit, and they can't happen until the stars align, figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking. So let's read up. So verse 14. But deliver us with thine hand, and help me that am desolate, and which have no other help but thee. Thou knowest all things, O Lord. Thou knowest that I hate the glory of the unrighteous, and abhor the bed of the uncircumcised, and of all the heathen. Thou knowest my necessity, for I abhor the sign of my high estate, which is upon my head in the days wherein I show myself, and that I abhor it as a minstrous rag, and that I wear it not when I am private by myself. Right. So she, even though she has this uh title as a queen, she isn't sitting in her quarters, sitting in the mirror, brushing her hair with the crown up on her head and saying, "Wow, you really did it. You became a queen." No, she's sitting there, in Esther sitting there in, disdain, hating that she's where she is. She don't like dealing. You think my man, this guy Xerxes was circumcised? No, that pertains to us. All right, so she's sitting there and dealing with her her lot, but she isn't sitting there like, yeah, man, I'm a queen, I get to do this. She understands. She, as we can see, she understands her role, and it's coming to pass in all of this within the deliverance of the children of Israel. Verse 17, and that thine handmaid uh, have not eaten at Amon's table, and I have not greatly esteemed the king's feast, nor drunk the wine of the drink offerings. Right, so she wasn't making herself unclean and uncircumcised, in the sense of, well, I'll say more so, there's a word, polluted herself with the dainties of the king's table. She basically just still, just thinking, yeah, fuck that. I don't give a toss about that. I'm more about my people. Verse 18. Neither had thine handmaid any joy since the day that I was brought hither to this present. But in thee, O Lord, power of Abraham, O thou mighty power above all, hear the voice of the forlorn, and deliver us out of the hands of the mischievous, and deliver me out of my fear. So with that, I pray you're edified to the next one, inshallah.